Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. I hope you all are doing great. Those who are new to my channel, a very warm welcome to all of you as well. Please like, share, subscribe so that you get notified when I share videos and tutorials around EDI, integration, cloud in general. So with that, let's get started with today's session. So today's session is a continuation or part two of a previous session that I did like a couple of weeks back, which is EDI developer to architect roadmap. So what we were doing is, let's say you get started as an application developer or an EDI developer as a fresher, and how you slowly start building your profile, your career, and your expertise to slowly move into integration architect role, right? So with that, I think in our last session, what we did is that we started slowly building upon all the concepts, all the strategies that you can apply in your career to be able to slowly step up, right? Take additional responsibilities, sometimes zoom out, right? Rather than zooming into what you are doing on a daily basis, or zooming out and seeing the bigger picture and how you can expand your network and how you can slowly grow your career, right? So with that, let's get started. So maybe let me share my screen real quick and then start using this whiteboard that I was using in my last session as well, right? So what we did, if you remember a quick recap, when you get started as an EDI developer or an application developer, typically I recommended you go through the EDI concepts, get more familiarized with that, get more like expertise, slowly build up on the EDI standards, learn more about the details of and the nuances of different kind of EDI standards, 85 versus X12 versus Tradecom, when to use what, and also be familiar with the latest uh, like modern file structures like JSON or XML because of API integrations and cloud computing and all that. These are some of the recent file formats which are widely being accepted and used across the industry. So it's not only about EDI, Edifact, X12, Tradecom kind of stuff, but also like going beyond that also. Now, having said that, what I mentioned, if you remember, is pick a product, right? Which probably your project is supposedly using, right? Okay, for example, it doesn't have to be always Sterling integrator. Like it can be Xway, it can be Clio, or right other tools that you have. Tools are just a way of implementing EDI, but as long as you're able to understand the EDI concept more in detail, any tool it might take some time to understand the nuances and how you implement things in Axway versus Sterling might be a little different, but the core concept remains always the same, right? So get familiar with the product itself, get your hands dirty with the product, start going through the core product documentation to understand more in detail of the different functionalities, features that are available. Also, I mentioned that if you see over here, start building maps on your own, how to gather requirements from the business side of it, how even a mapping requirement specification is being created, right? Typically, as a developer, you might be receiving an MRS and some sample input files and output files for you to start developing map. But have you thought like just okay, this is the work that I've got. Okay, I have to create a map, okay, where I should be able to insert an input file and it should give me a expected output file. And I hand it over and then it goes through different kind of testing and then it gets deployed. But have you thought like taking a step back when you receive that project of doing a map? How was this MRS being created, right? Like how is this mapping requirement specification even came into picture, right? So typically there is the business analyst, right, who would probably work with the business side of it, understanding, like even talking to the like a trading partner, working closely with them to map that source and input, like and the output structure and all the business logic within that, try to understand like can I start working on like creating an MRS on my own, right? How do I like work closely, right, with the business analyst and be able to understand how they translate the business requirements into technical like mapping requirement specifications. So slowly building your area of expertise rather than just doing what you're supposed to do in the project, right? That will give you more exposure. That will give you more um, experience, right, into going beyond what you're actually doing, right? as I mentioned, slowly build upon different kind of protocols, start implementing, start testing different protocols, right? How is FTP being set up versus SFTP or FTPS, AS2s and AS3s, right? So maybe create small demos, right? Or maybe start like see if you like. It's not necessarily that you will have always the luxury of like doing some hands-on because your project is asking for you, right? As long as you're exposed to a product, even a test environment beyond what you're doing as a project work, like let's say your project work only is giving you an opportunity to maybe just deploy or like implement SFTP protocol, but why don't you like just use the test environment, right? Or talk to your manager, talk to your team lead, and see like if you can do some hands-on for your own learning to maybe implement an AS2 protocol, right? So have that conversation, have that what you call really like curious and curious to learn about something new, right? Like have that curiosity always in your mind, right? That way you will be able to like carve out some areas, okay, where you can like dive deep, right? And then beyond like once you are more comfortable on the mapping side of it and the protocol side of it, as I mentioned in last one, like start exploring business processes, right? When you understand that I have created a map, but then it is being called by a business process. What is a business process, right? Why am I not like, is there a time, right? Okay, maybe next 3 months, okay, I'm able to invest my time to learn how a business process is being created. And why don't I just like do the same experiment that I've done? Like maybe create a fictitious use case, right? Even if I'm not given the work in the project, like sometimes I've seen like, oh, I'm not supposed to edit like or maybe create a business process. I'm only supposed to create a map. Okay, understood. But then have you explored an opportunity of maybe just for your own learning's sake, right? Create like in the test environment, maybe have a fictitious use case, right, in your mind and start building a business process and start executing it. Let it fail, right? Like once it fails, you will be trying to do like some kind of troubleshooting and then learn on your own. See maybe map, like see some of the other business process similar to that and see what is the flow of the business process and try to compare with yours. And that way, like you basically bridge the gap of like your self learning, right? So you have to be like always like on top of what you're learning and like try to expand that. So that's very important. Now, once you get comfortable with business process, maybe you can take that opportunity to go to your team lead and ask like, okay, I have built this business process, I can demo this, okay, this is what my learning is, I think I'm ready for the next role of like start building some business processes. Why don't you give me like if any project come, okay, where I can like create business processes on my own. I would love to have that opportunity. So I have that open conversations, right? Like you need to step up. You need to show that you are really eager to do something in addition to what you're doing, right, on a daily basis. And you need to show that like hands-on, like, okay, you have that capability, right? So build the capability slowly. Now, like right now, whatever we spoke is more of the technology side of it, like the core concept of EDI, and then some of the application piece of it. But beyond that, right, I would suggest like let's maybe expand this, right? Maybe create a, let's do it. All right, and then maybe I'll this one. Let's do. Okay. How about? Okay. Now take a step back. You probably understand most of the application part of it, how it works. But have you thought like a lot of the times, other than the business processes and maps, what is the role of a support engineer, right? What are the different kind of failures they come across in their day-to-day job? Uh, Typically, you have seen like they might be doing some kind of translation failures, maybe BP failures. But going beyond that, how about system level failures? Like, for example, database full. Unix related issues, storage issues, network issues. So I would suggest like now start looking into like some of the failure points, right? What happens, right, when something fails? How does the troubleshooting happen in those areas, right? Uh, what do I learn from them? How do I fix them? How do I see if I can avoid them, right? Things like that. System level failures will give you more opportunity of like being a system architect. Like, okay, I'm working on this application for like maybe last 2 to 3 years. Have I thought like, okay, this application was at some point, right, maybe a few years back, was deployed on the infrastructure that is running upon. Okay, so this application, Sterling application, is running on a database. Maybe it's a IBM DB2, maybe it's a Microsoft SQL Server, maybe it's a another Oracle, maybe Oracle database, right? How, like when the application was not even present, like when they decided, this client decided, this company decided that they will go with Sterling integrator, how was this capacity planning done? How did they come across like some of the server requirements? Look into those kind of areas. Like, okay, if I have, like if I was asked tomorrow that I have to install a brand new Sterling integrator application on a brand new infrastructure, and I am given end-to-end opportunity to come up with the capacity that is needed uh, on the server side of it, how much database like storage and sizing is needed for supporting a Sterling V2V integrated application. Am I ready for that, right? So think through that infrastructure level, like uh, understanding how is being this installed. How, let's say in future it might happen that there might be an upgrade project where they're like maybe upgrading from a older Sterling integrator to a newer Sterling integrator version. Am I like, am I ready to even participate in those kind of upgrade projects? Do I have the expertise and all that? So in, if you need to participate in those projects which will give you more further visibility to your seniors, for like getting promoted or for moving to the next level, you need to showcase that, right, from your capabilities that you have built. So start looking into the system architecture, start looking into installing, like how is this being installed, look into the infrastructure side of it, talk to different teams. Like typically when a production support guy, right, they are more closer to the infrastructure team because there are a lot of times, okay, Sterling integrator does fail for different kind of infrastructure level failures, like database is full, some old orphan records are growing up, piling up, and then the system performance goes down. There are some memory leaks, right? So a lot of things happen at the infrastructure level. Try to understand what are those, right? Some of the networking related issues, right? So uh, try to integrate with the person support team, try to understand the day-to-day job and see how you can maybe contribute to that. Like that will give you more exposure to different kind of infrastructure and system architecture level, and that will help you to move slowly from application developer help to move from application developer to system admin role, right? Now, once you get like once you become a system admin for some time, you would be comfortable to uh, install brand new uh, integration application on brand new infrastructure. Also, you should be able to upgrade from old to new version, for example, right? There are more of them, right? Now, once you get comfortable, maybe you spend like a couple of years on this role of like an administrator role. Um, you will get an opportunity even to work with the product team, right? Because a lot of times what happens is that I have seen when you become a system administrator, you're also like uh, expanding your network. Like you're talking to network team, you're talking to Unix team, you're talking to database team, right? You are giving different kind of like requirements. You're dealing with a lot of challenges that you need to work with them to fix them at the database level or the Unix level or storage level and all that. So that expands your network, first of all. Second of all, a lot of times it happens, like just for example, Sterling Integrator, I have seen there are some product related issues, right, which is not within your scope of like expertise. So typically what we do, we ask for, like, we open a PMR, IBM PMR, we open a ticket, right? And then we work with the IBM's support team. And let's say after a lot of back and forth, like giving all the data points, logs, and everything, they decide that, okay, it's a bug in the existing product. So they may go back to the engineering team and they may come up with a bug fix. So there might be a iFix that you would be getting that you have to apply to fix that issue, right? There might be some new features that they may like come up with based on what you have noticed in your application at your version, which no one has, right? So there's a lot of like this feedback loop that goes back and forth between you as a system admin and the IBM product team, and that will give you more visibility to the product team itself, and it will give you a more like understanding of how this product actually works. So you should be able to then contribute to the product roadmap, right? So ability to work with, like, I'll say application product vendor and influence their product roadmap. And they might come up with a feature that you have actually identified as an issue, and then they consider, okay, no, this is something that probably most of their clients would be asking for, if not now, and they might consider that as a roadmap item, right? So you would be able to, like, using this feedback loop, influence the product roadmap, which is really great, right? It is really great for your career as well, right? For your resume. So that's that. Now, once you're done with this, I think the next level is thinking about now zooming out. Now you know the application. Now you know where it is being installed and how is it being installed. Now you know how to deal with the infrastructure. Now let's take a step back further, zoom out, and not just focus on the integration product and its own infrastructure, but this product that you are having, like Sterling Integrator or X or any other product, okay, it is uh, like integrated or connected either like async or synchronously with both external systems as well as internal systems. So let's say for internal system, it is connected to, let's say, SAP ERP system. It is connected to an order management system. It is connected to some other applications that ingest or like sends files in and out, right? So now you should be able to understand that, okay, uh, it's not about what you're building within the application. There are a lot of, like, so in Sterling Integrator, for example, you have services and adapters. What are adapters? Like, have you asked that question to yourself? Adapters are nothing but it's a service. But then the adapters is needed for integrating or talking to external system. That's why they're called adapters, right? File system adapter or connect direct adapter, SAP adapter, right? So these are services, but these are not for internal purpose. These are more like interacting with external systems. So you can then zoom out and, like, as an integration architect, what you typically do, you typically get those business requirements. You understand, okay, what is the current tech stack? What are the different applications and touch points that Sterling Integrator has to talk to for either sending files or receiving files, right? So as an integration architect, as a next level, you should be able to then draw out that entire architecture, how that would look like, how different systems will interact with each other, at what level, what kind of files that they would exchange, what are the different translations that are needed, how, whether it is a batch or real time, things like that. So as an integration architect, you need to be able to design an overall integration architecture, definitely keeping the integration layer at the core of it, but then there are like other subsystems that they are interacting with, right? So as an integration, so next level is moving slowly to integration architecture, right? So here you're actually dealing with lot of external and internal applications that are talking to integration layer, right? So that's the next level, right? Integration architect. So I think pretty much I kind of have given you a roadmap of where you start as an application developer, how you move slowly to become a senior application developer, and then how you slowly move to a system administrator, and then how you can start thinking about an integration architecture, right? So that's kind of a roadmap. I hope these two sessions are kind of useful on a very high level to help you navigate like the path of EDI application developer to architect, and how you need to like sometimes zoom in to like become expert in that area, but then zoom out and then see how you can grow your career, okay, and add more capabilities within your resume to be able to take more responsibilities and slowly grow your career, right? Please, I would like to suggest you, if you have any suggestions, feedback, any questions on these two sessions, right, where you want me to focus more in a deeper level, and if you have any questions, please let me know, right? I hope these two sessions were useful to you. This is a very high level, as I mentioned. I haven't gone into more detail, but I hope this was useful to you. With that, I'm going to conclude today's session, and I'll see you in next week. Thank you and take care.